Hi, I'm Angel, and I'm here to review today the 2018 Netflix docu-series Wild Wild Country. My goodness. I'm reviewing this one because wow. Wow is the only word I can really think of to sum up and describe this docu-series. It is fantastic. First of all, okay, where to begin? It is visually stunning. I don't know what cameras they are using to film interviews with people that they have in present day and to film landscapes. Beautiful. Oh my gosh. They make, is it Oregon or Ohio? One of those states. They make it look so beautiful. Everything is so beautiful. They make old people look so beautiful. I know that sounds terrible the way I said it, but they just make elderly people that maybe in a different light would look not so appealing on TV, but they're just so gorgeous because of the camera quality. Contrast that with old footage, 80s footage, 70s footage, vintage footage, grainy camera quality and audio. It's fantastic. The storytelling in this docuseries, fantastic. It's basically the story of a typical guru, I will say. Guru loosely. I really want to say that loosely. Well, I don't know what he teaches, so maybe he is a guru, but he just looks like a fool to me. Who had this cultish following, or created a community, if you want to call it that. Went from being in India to somehow ending up in Antelope, Oregon, on a huge piece of land in the desert, and creating a commune there. Well, it wasn't in Antelope. Well, it was in Oregon. It was near Antelope, I think. It just tells the story of how neighboring towns didn't appreciate it, and this commune of people aren't your typical religious people or spiritualists. They fight dirty, they fight hard. Unethical, sometimes even immoral tactics to get their way. Crazy is the word I can only use to describe it. And it's so entertaining. It is so unbelievable. At times you have to really question how this is a true story. The lives that some people live in this world. Oh my gosh. Things that people have done, that people are a part of, that communities can come together and create. It's unimaginable. It's insane. It reminds you that fiction is based on reality, and sometimes reality beats fiction. And in this case, it really does. Like, they talk about this guy like he radiated Jesus unicorn chemicals of peace and goodwill. I don't know what he was exuding, but people just fell under his spell. And I don't know if it's like a placebo effect. One person seems mesmerized, so another person comes and sees this and then gets mesmerized too. Fragile people who have no one to turn to, or if this person actually did have an aura and energy that was bigger than us. It's actually funny because before this documentary came out, like a few months ago, my dad actually told me, oh, I read this book by this guy named Osho, and it's really interesting. You might want to check it out. It's got some really interesting philosophies and stuff. I still have yet to get around to reading his philosophies, but then when I saw that this Wild Wild Country was about him and how he kind of basically was a cult leader, I was just like, whoa, ironic. Now more so than ever, I think I'm more curious about his teachings because this documentary doesn't really go into what it is that he preached, except for the bad stuff. Well, bad stuff. The things I don't necessarily agree with, or the people explaining his philosophies weren't the right people. For example, they explained that he promoted sexual freedom and liberation, but it could just mean that he told people you can love the way you want to love, and if monogamy is your way, monogamy is your way. If polyamory is your way, as long as you're honest with yourself and the people that you're with. I think that's what he was encouraging, but I don't know enough. That's what I understood. The way they were describing it was like he was a sexual deviant and he was into love with everyone and banishing marriage. And I think maybe he just criticized marriage as society has engineered it to be a trap, the only option, and the thing that defines humanity, especially for women. I don't know so much about men, but in a lot of cultures, it's like, oh, a woman who isn't married is worthless or has failed at life. So maybe that's what he was critical of. Maybe that's what he was commenting upon. I don't know. I agree with him. You have to know why you're getting married. You have to know why you're getting into any type of relationship. You must be cognizant of what you want and who you are and what you're willing to accept, and seek it out with the people who want the same things as you. So if that's what he's preaching, I'm all for it. I agree. And then the whole not being about that whole Jesus turn the other cheek thing, but instead if you get punch back kind of thing, like fight fire with fire. Nah. See, I'm not about that life. I'm more about the forgiveness, even in the toughest of times, because it frees you up and opens the door for solutions and more love to come in rather than opening the door to hatred. Well, someone else opens it for you and you walk through it. Like, am I stupid? No. I applaud the amount of work that went into this documentary. The editing, the amount of footage they must have had, and to choose which clip to use when. The editors were also kind of sneaky. They were comical in the way they would piece footage together, and they would have the guru stare into the camera and another character stare back, and it was like doing a face-off. Clever editing. Maybe not intentionally, but it was funny to me. The work that goes into that as a person who has made a very tiny documentary. I can't even imagine. It must have taken them years. And I don't know how big the team is. Bravo. I really applaud the work. The execution is impeccable. Whether or not everything is true, it's based on people's testimonials. And of course, research, news clippings and all that, but it's still people's testimonials in the end. If you're looking for something very entertaining, almost like Star Wars-y, Empire Strikes Back-ish, oh, it's entertaining. This is Breaking Bad meets a Western meets the story of America. It's crazy. I really do recommend watching Wild Wild Country. And if you want to hear what I got to say about Sheela, stay tuned. So if you have to go now, I understand. Like this video, subscribe to Music Game News if you haven't already, and I will see you soon. Cheers.
The spoils.
Sheela is a bad mamma jamma. Wow, when she said the words tough titties in an interview, I knew I loved her. But, girl, crazy. Vulnerable, naive, I think, impressionable, driven woman, like, wow, she is so boss. But the things that she did, I don't know that she did all the things that they blame her for doing. I don't know to what extent she is the mastermind and responsible for them. I do think that Osho had a little hand in some. He was hiding behind the curtains of truth. I think that she really believed in him. She loved him because her parents set her up to believe in this man and trust this man. She didn't want to let her parents down. So she looked to the Bhagwan because she trusted her parents, and then she, I guess, saw something and fell for him, and I don't know what it is. The amount of OMG that happens in the unfolding of this commune is just insane. If the Rajneeshees from the get-go had organized some kind of a luncheon, some kind of a festival, maybe even inside of Antelope or the neighboring towns, had introduced themselves to neighboring towns, had explained what they're doing there, invited people in and shared their philosophies with them, and showed them that we're just regular people who are following this guru who gives us a lot of courage and confidence and love, and we're just here to create a community. I feel like so much of the drama, if not all the drama, could have been avoided. But what we had are two sides that don't know each other, wrongs on both sides, just bullheadedness. First of all, obviously the locals said things in the documentary that made me guffaw, like audibly laugh. When they were talking about how uncomfortable it is for people, foreigners, to come and change their community, or even take away their community, I couldn't help but think, did you ever stop to think how your ancestors got to be in Oregon? Was that always the case? What's that little thing called? Aboriginals, right. What happened to them? History. So I just thought it was kind of ironic for the people of Oregon to be threatened by foreigners when their ancestors stole land from Aboriginals, decimated Aboriginals, came with violence first, not questions or open arms or, we're going to set ourselves up in this piece of land that we bought from your chief. None of that. And I understand that the people who are dealing with the Rajneeshees, they weren't responsible for what happened to the Aboriginals directly. Of course, I'm not accusing them. I'm just saying that this was an interesting lesson in life, and some people could call it like cosmic karma. I don't know. Not that I really believe in that. I don't know. I thought it was interesting. I don't want to say that they don't have the right to protect their community and feel threatened by someone taking it from them. Nobody likes that. Obviously, it's a terrible thing to do. I just thought that, especially the ones who were like,
I got my guns and off my dead body, are they going to come up in here and raise their kids the way they want to?
Okay, you need to calm down, and you are part of the problem. So it was hard to garner sympathy for people like that who were coming with guns, like walking around the Rajneeshees with guns, and then the Rajneeshees retaliate by pointing cameras at them and filming them in their town, in public spaces. And this is what they were complaining about, feeling threatened and invaded. Are you really gonna equate threatening someone with a firearm and being filmed? Ridiculous. Xenophobia was at the heart, I think, of a lot of it. It's also just a question of not knowing. Ignorance. Ignorance is the greatest killer to progress. Information is what leads to innovation, which is what leads to progress. I just wish that the Rajneeshees also would just put their pride aside and get to know these people. They are kind of coming into their community. Even if they were in the desert, they could have come with love and peace. A true guru would have told them that. Osho was like busy just enjoying his life of luxury in silence, because that is the sneakiest way to get away with things.
I'm gonna just like say nothing and let everyone else speak for me.
This is what happens when other people speak for you. Drama. I don't know what kind of guru he was. It doesn't really seem like he was a guru. I think he just knew how to manipulate people and take advantage of situations. And maybe he did have great, wise teachings. Maybe he regurgitated them from Gandhi and other philosophers over time, Nietzsche, I don't know. But when I heard him call Sheela a on camera at some point, completely lost credibility. I was like, oh, you're just a guy. You're a guy with pride and ego. You are not here to enlighten anyone. You are not enlightened yourself. I just didn't agree with the way he operated. And I think he really took advantage of people who were in desperate need of belonging and felt belonging around him. He was just really good at smiling. Am I being too cynical? Am I being too harsh? Maybe. I don't want to deny what his followers experienced. They clearly experienced something. I love that they had what they had. But there was a lot of foolishness. A lot of human nonsense. You saw the way he was wearing them diamonds? Yes. Who had many cars and didn't go anywhere? Like, why? And I think that this whole experience reminded people, a lot of people, the followers, that family, community, belonging is very important. If you belong to no one and you need to belong to something or someone, you can easily identify with the wrong people. Basically, at the heart of it, we all need and want love and to be loved and to give love. And they had created a group of people whose priority was to be happy and loving. I wish that they could have maybe learned that, and instead of excluding themselves from life, bringing that message to the world and their families and their communities, because it's easy to run away from your problems and run away from life. Real change and progress comes from sharing your experience with others, whatever it is that you've gained. You know, share the wealth, basically, the wealth of knowledge, the wealth of experience. There's just a lot of ego depicted in this documentary. But a lot of people learned a lot from this experience. For anyone who thinks Sheela's a bad person, I disagree. She's a really good person at heart. She's just really strong and opinionated and knows who she is and knows what she wants. And I think the proof is in how even after jail and everything, she is still helping people. She's helping people with disabilities, older people. She really is in service to others. She puts her money where her mouth is, so to speak. I think that the worst or most controversial thing they did was to collect all of the homeless people in Oregon and around America, rather. And then when things got tough, to just dispose of them like they were tools to gain a political party. It's like, that's just typical American behavior there. Pretending you care about people to get votes. They saw people as a resource, as Negan would say in The Walking Dead. Not that Negan should be an inspiration, but, you know, he got some wisdom there. And in some sense, maybe Negan was the Osho of The Walking Dead. He really kind of was their guru. Wow. Now that I think of it. But anyhow, controversial characters, but super interesting. And I hope to have tough ditties like Sheela in life, because she believed in herself. And to have that kind of confidence, the things that she could accomplish, wow. Amazing. What did you think of Wild Wild Country? I would love to hear from you. Comment section below. Before you go, please like this video, subscribe to Music Game News if you haven't already, turn on that notification bell, and of course, share this video with others, because sharing is caring. Let's create our own commune and call it MGN, eh? Thank you so much for watching. My name is Angel, and I'm signing out.